In this tutorial I want to go over the newest game mode called Breakthrough. A lot of people that are playing Breakthrough are simply playing it wrong. They don't put any of the defenses down that is included in your battle group when you go for Breakthrough game mode, or they just completely neglect putting down secondary or third defensive lines throughout the game. So the first thing I want to go over is what is Breakthrough. Well, Breakthrough is a game mode where one team defends. So in this case it is blue defend, red attack. And the red team, the communists, or the Russian or Soviet battle groups will be attacking. And the way this is balanced is as followed. So the defensive team gets defensive structures they can put down. They get less points in phase A, and they get more and more points in phase C. And the opposite is true for the red team. The red team gets more points in phase A, and then less and less points in phase B and C. So that kind of balances out the point difference, or just balances out the game in general. And it is possible to win with red team, and it is even possible to, do a counter push with blue team. I've done them all over and over again, and I might have videos of those gameplays linked down below. Anyways, so when you do Breakthrough game mode as a defending team, another tab opens up in your battle group, and these are defensive structures such as barbed wire, trenches, gun pits, and bunkers. And I want to go over all of these. So for instance, we have barbed wire, and where you want to put these is where you want to slow down the enemy. Barbed wire cannot be destroyed. The same goes for trenches, they cannot be destroyed. Bunkers and AT bunkers, they can be destroyed. So these static defenses cannot be destroyed, but things that are manned, like with MGs or AT guns, they can be. So for instance, if I want to slow down their advance on the left, where would be a really good position to put down barbed wire would be either out in the open, just leading to a town, or in a forest where you want to slow down their infantry. For example, if you want to defend against any armor that might move up over here through this thin wooded area, putting some barbed wire here is going to tremendously slow down those units. But don't just stop there. You also want to combine the defensive structures that you have. So for instance, if I'm slowing down their tanks or slowing down the infantry that might be moving up here, I also want to move or put down some trenches. And with those trenches, I also want to put down, for example, some AT infantry. You just click on a trench after clicking the infantry, and some regular infantry, and perhaps we'll actually go with a Panzer Grenadier over there as well. And that's, I guarantee you, if any armor tries to move in, it will get destroyed immediately. And the same is true for other positions. Like if you want to just mainly defend against infantry over here, I wouldn't really put down like a trench all the way across this region. That's just going to take out most of your trench line. I would use it on the weakest areas. So for example, I would be putting a barbed wire right over there, some trenches in the back, and probably put some infantry in the trenches to defend against whatever comes up through there. Also, what you also have is bunker MGs and bunker with pack 50s. And these are static bunkers. You cannot move these around after the game starts, and they will hold a pack 50 in this case, or an MG42. Now, putting a bunker right over here with an MG42 is going to be a waste. It is really close quarters. Infantry, pioneer infantry can quickly move to the flanks and just grenade this bunker and take it out immediately. Where would be, for example, a better position is somewhere where the enemy is bottlenecked and where you have a free range to fire at. For example, in this map particularly, the enemy will be moving down this road to try to cap this general region. So putting in bunker MG42 right over there will enable you to fire down this entire region. Now, yes, this will probably get countered really quickly by tanks, but you can also put down an AT bunker with a pack 50 right over there to stop anything from moving up. The downside is these guys will also be able to be engaged from there. So you want to position these by holding down left C, somewhere where you can engage the regions you want to engage, but somewhere that is out of the reach of other areas. So for example, this would actually work really nicely. You could engage this general region but not be engaged somewhere else, or you can even put this guy somewhere like this, for example. Just put him like that, and you can basically engage anything that comes up that road. Another really very powerful tool to use are the MG42s, especially if you're trying to defend a town. So you want to think ahead and think, how will the enemy push if they want to take out this town? Most of the time they will be moving up from here or moving down the hill. So you want to put your defenses down that can stop those types of pushes. So for example, if we put an MG42 bunker right there pointing that way, this guy will not be able to be engaged from anywhere else except a little bit on the right side there, but they will not be engaged. They are not able to be engaged from the hill over there, and they just have a free range of fire over there. Also, if we put down one more over here, so by holding the left C tool down or the C key down, we can actually see where these guys will be able to fire. I can put down another one right about there, and that will be able to fire at this general region over there. And these guys have a range of 1500 meters, so yeah, they'll be in range. As for hills, it is very good to put trenches on the reverse slope of a hill. And with this I mean, don't put trenches down here if you're trying to defend this region, right? You will be able to hold, like it'll be fine for quite some time. You'll be able to hold for like at least probably like 10 minutes even. But what is even better is to use them on the reverse slope of a hill. And with this I mean basically downhill, just on the ridge of this hill, put down trenches like that. And what this will do is, and also couple them with barbed wire, obviously, like always. And what this will do is the enemy will think that you haven't really defended this region, and they will be really cocky and they will start moving up. But they won't be able to see these guys in any way unless they flank over here or unless they flank over here. So this is completely hidden from everywhere. And what this enables you to do is set up an ambush. So for example, if we have AT guns right there and there, or AT infantry I should say, and we have some right Jaegers right over there, and you know, maybe we have some more regular infantry against their infantry, and probably also want to put down a leader or two to make these guys extra powerful. Yeah, this is going to stop any advance of anything. So if they move up tanks, you know, thinking, oh, you don't really have a lot of defenses here, you probably have maybe one infantry there, this will make them push up, get too cocky, and you will be able to ambush anything that tries to move over there. And even if you get uncovered or spotted after an engagement, there's not much they can do to dislodge you from here. Especially, and this is like a fourth level of, you know, thinking outside the box, is if you put down other defenses, like let's say we put down a pack 50 like that, and like another one that is looking up there as well, what you will be able to do is engage any tanks that move just outside the forest, enabling you to both engage them with the AT guns and with the infantry at the same time. And this is, honestly, with just these units, you can hold down this front for a very long time. Another thing that I like to do a lot is put down trenches on top of the hill as well, if you don't have any good places there to put them. So for example, if I am the enemy and I'm moving up on the left, I will probably move up with infantry through the forest or with tanks through this crossroad, this T intersection there. So there's a lot of bottlenecks that I could ambush the enemy at. So once again, I will put down some barbed wire here in case they move through the forest. I will put down some trenches here to put like AT infantry and stuff in there, and that will be able to hold off any big attack that comes up there. As for the top of the hill, since it will be very useless to put trenches down at the, you know, the reverse slope of this hill, it's just going to get immediately attacked, and yeah, they'll be spotted pretty much immediately. In this case, you want to probably put them on top of the hill. So what I would do in this case is put barbed wire right on top of that ridge line here. That'll slow down anything that tries to come across, and then you can put down some trenches filled with infantry or whatever, like AT infantry, and that will be able to defend that entire region. And these guys, having some AT infantry over here will be able to hold against any tanks that try to move up over there. Yeah, and another thing that I want to discuss is secondary defensive lines. A lot of people only put defenses on, you know, the front, and they just completely neglect anywhere else. So I really recommend people thinking ahead once again and think, so if this falls, where will I have to fall back to? And, you know, one way or one position is this farmland and also this forest over here. So thinking ahead, this will enable me to be like, okay, so if I move over here, I will probably want some form of fire support that can engage like this thin opening in the woods. So probably putting down a machine gun like that will help, and possibly even like a Pack 50 they can shoot down there as well, or something like that. You can also just go for your regular AT guns in the woods like that to counter any of that stuff. Also, if the game is, you know, if you've set up your front line, obviously I'm too spread out here, but you also want to already put down units on those secondary positions here so that you have something to cover you while you fall back. Don't be too static in this game. If the enemy is attacking your front line, don't be afraid to fall back from it. You control 24 out of all of the conquest points, and you are allowed to lose a few of them, right? So if you're getting heavily attacked somewhere, it's better to fall back with those units instead of just losing them outright. And then you can replenish them or resupply them, and then, you know, use them on your secondary defensive line. Breakthrough is purely a game mode that is set for attrition, and that is set for shock tactics. And people that are either too passive or too static are just going to lose immediately. So yeah, with the remaining of your trenches, just fill up whatever you think is a good place to fill up. For example, if I want to fall back from this town into this general region here, I would probably put trenches down here to defend against anything that tries to come through the forest. And once again, coupling it with barbed wire, that'll be, you know, pretty indestructible there. And the same goes for the right side here. If I plan on or think about losing this town, just put some premature trenches and barbed wire right over there. And yeah, if they use pioneer infantry like flamethrowers, even this will be able to defend against those really well. So yeah, I know it is a really short tutorial, but I really think that people need to have these bite-sized tutorials for them. Since once again, I see a lot of people that don't use their defensive structures or don't use all of them. And remember, when the game starts, you won't be able to use any of these buildings. So put down all of them. Put them down wherever you think they might be useful. Just sprinkle them across. You really run out of these really quickly. So yeah, just use absolutely everything you can and use them wherever you can, because as soon as the game starts, you are not able to use them. Now, one thing that I really didn't cover too much is the gun pits. Now, these are, as the name suggests, pits for AT guns. So let's say we want to put one down here for some reason, and I have my Pack 40 there. This basically makes it a little bit more resilient. It's kind of like an entrenchment bonus for the AT gun. Personally, I don't find these too useful. Now then again, these type of things, these new experimental things are all subject to change, so they might make this a little bit different in the future. For now, I would not put them in there, but when the game does get updated, or when they focus more attention to the defensive structures and especially the gun pits, because personally all the other things are quite balanced, yeah, then you should maybe look into these, but I wouldn't really do that beforehand. So yeah. Use everything, think ahead, set up secondary and third defense lines, and obviously don't forget about putting these in your battle groups. In all of my battle group reviews or overviews, I have put in defenses. So if you check my playlist and if you think that you like those battle groups, definitely go ahead and use them. This is my Hardneck battle group, and other battle groups have less or more types of defensive structures. So yeah, have a play with them, and yeah. Have fun, I guess. That's the most important part. So I'll see you guys back in the next one. Take care.